this is ripurahole for pokervip.com. I'm going to make a 30-minute video of me two-tabling 50NL 6 max no limit hold'em. It's speed poker, so I'm keeping the tables down to 2 just so it's easier to follow. A few of you have asked me for this, so here we go. See if some interesting spots come up. I just had a look at the lobbies, plenty of action going on, and obviously speed poker is a really good way to release bonuses. So as well as the games being nice, soft and easy, plenty of fish, it's also a good place to make those bonuses. Peeled with King 10 off versus a button open. I called once, just floating out of position. To take away sort of if they check back the turn, I can lead the river, or could always hit some sort of draw or pair on the turn that I could continue with. But once they bet twice on a board like that, it's just a simple fold. Don't think we need to hang around too long with the 3-5 and the 3-6 offs on the button. Standard 6 max I would probably open there, but I think it's speed poker, you can let those ones go sometimes. King 4 blind v blind. When we've got a limper, I'm just going to hopefully take it on the pot pre-flop. If not, we can play a point in position, even though it's a horrible hand. When we get let out to, I'm actually just going to fold. It's one of those really annoying spots where they just cling on and never let go, and our hand just isn't, very playable. So just fold. 3-bet the ace king off. Big blind versus under the gun. Made my standard sort of c-bet with the ace high. Once we get a caller and we hit the king, I'm pretty much sure we've got the best hand. I'm not doing anything here but bet jamming. Obviously a flush got there, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, a 3 beats us. 9s and 8s are definitely in the range, but I think a lot of the time we just run into like jacks, 10s, so we've got to get value for our hand there, and we can definitely get called, so we're not just jamming for them to fold, we're assuming that they can call us with worse. And we've got the ace of clubs as well, so that takes out, sort of like ace queen of club floats, ace jack of club floats. So we're just pretty confident there with our top to bet jam. On the turn I made the bet a little bit smaller than I normally would, just because it's such a dry board. We're wanting plenty of subs to call us, we're not scared of too many rivers, so keep it small, get the call, print the 22 bigs, which I know that a few of you will have heard in my previous video. I take a lot of notice on how many big blinds I'm winning in a pot. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's not money, treat it as chips. I've always just treated it as money, it's $50, it's 100 big blinds. But rather than looking, oh, I just won $4, I say bigs, just if you keep winning those 8 big blinds here and there, they'll add up and you'll have 100 big blinds soon enough. So, it's a great way to just, count your profit and keep your mind in the game. Just little games I play. I do such long sessions and play so many tables that I just try and pick up on little positive things to keep me grinding on, really. Because when you sat in your bedroom on your own or your office on your own, it does get pretty boring, and it's all about self-motivation. So whatever it takes to keep you at the tables making money, because just like any other job, we have an hourly rate. So the more hours we play, the more hours we get, the more money we get, should I say. Open king 9 off on the button, really standard, and then just going to make a half pot c-bet. We expect to take it down enough of the time. We can definitely just give up if we get called, versus some people we can barrel, but there I'll just c-betting to hopefully take the pot down. Queen 8 suited blind v blind, definitely fine, and then just make a standard c-bet. We obviously have 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw, so it's not that bad of a spot for us. If we get called, we can definitely shut down and give up the pot. We can bet again if we turn maybe a draw, or if we just think they'll fold to a double barrel. plenty of options, but to start off with, you know, we'll just see betting as standard. Jack 2 suited on the button, totally fine. I've just started putting a blog up on pokervip.com. I'm going to probably update it weekly, at least every 2 weeks, just of like, you know, exactly how I'm doing, what my profit and loss is, how many hours I'm playing, what my win rate is. I think it's something as a coach you've got to be pretty honest about. I mean, we do have huge downswings sometimes. We have bad days, bad weeks, bad months. But you know, I think it's cool to be honest and just put up, you know, your simple stats. This was this week. This was this week. This is what I've done. This is why I've lost. This is why I've won. So I hope you all subscribe to that and enjoy the updates. Ace Queen here. Standard squeeze pre. We get a caller. It's obviously a pretty bad flop for us. Smacks pretty much over peelers, range in the face with all his pairs or flush draws. But I've obviously got a bet once. But I think on this turn there's just not really a lot we can do. I don't think anything that really calls us on the flop folds. Maybe like 4s, 5s or 6s. But I think a lot of time it's like 9s, 10s, you know, sort of like ace-x suited. And we just can't get many hands that beat us to fold. And only a couple ones that we're ahead of carry on and call. Then it puts us in a really bad spot on the river. Thinking, well, do we have to jam here to make them fold that worse ace, or you know, the flush draw? Do we check call with our ace high, which is pretty much an impossible task to do, or do we just check fold, which, you know, if we're running into hands that we think actually are worse than ours, then we're just burning money there. So just making a decision on the turn to give up and lose that pot, I think is the best line of making money in the long run, or losing less money, should I say. Ace 2 suited in the cut off, standard open, same with the king queen off. This guy looks a little bit fishy, short stack, so we'll just 3-bet him in position with ace jack. 3-bet. This guy 3-bets 15% from the big blind. We could 4-bet, but I think if we just call in position, we can have him really dominated and outplay him post flop pretty easily. Ace jack, just making a c-bet. With a king queen, I think we could actually raise here for value, get him to spaz a bit, or you know, call with worse. But in position, I'm just going to call down pretty much on any turn and river. Ace jack, we 3-bet in position, we c-bet, we got called. I'm just going to check back. I think we're ahead enough at the time, so I don't think we're really giving them too much wiggle room. Then we just check about the ace high and run into 3s. Yeah, that's so bad river for us. Although we were always behind, but we're never folding. We've called a king queen in position. We've hit top pair. We've made 2 pair. Obviously aces beat us because the board's paired. But I think you could have bluffs, ace queen. So we just got to call down and be pretty happy with that. Just sucks that we were always behind and we lost a stack. But I think enough of the time there versus a 15% big blind 3-bet will be pretty golden and just collecting money. Peeling with the 3s, not standard, you can fold it, but he looks really fishy, so obviously more implied odds on getting paid if we flop a set, and you know, it'd been a lot easier to play post flop. I think this is a spot where a lot of people might call, but I just generally don't do it a lot, just for the main reason is they can definitely have us beat. It's hard for them to have completely nothing. I doubt they bet like their ace queens and ace jacks, so we're either run into a total like 9 high or 8 high airball, or they've got some random pair. folded that Jack 5 off on the button because the short stack only had 30 bigs. The big blind only had 30 bigs. So I didn't think we'd need to hang around there and have to play a shorty with such a bad hand. Short stackers are definitely my kryptonite. I hate playing them, hate everything about them. But you know, more power to you if you are a short stack. As long as you're making money, that's all that matters. Ace King, blind v blind, a 4-bet. Obviously hate this flop. It does definitely hit a lot of their range in the face. So I'm probably just going to check fold or check jam or check call. 3-bet the ace 9. Fine for us to do because we don't obviously want to call too much. We floated the flop because obviously, you know, we can definitely rep more than they have on the turn. There's a lot of good turns for us like this one. I think 3-betting and folding a Jack Queen King in position is just pretty dumb. So whatever we had there, I'd pretty much be calling to just reevaluate on the turn, thinking, well, our range is surely stronger than theirs, so we should be able to play this hand better. The Ace King we checked and they overbet jammed. I think it's a bit of a spew spot if we call. You know, we can just run into like Jack 10 or like Ace Jack or something annoying like that. So I just let it go. Jack Queen, I ISO'd. We bet the Ace High, and we get called. We could just keep on bombing, but I prefer to just check, keep the pot smaller, make them sort of like induce them into betting something like Queen 10, King Queen, or you know, maybe go for river value with a Jack. But against someone else, I probably would have gone for river value. But there I just felt they really either have absolutely nothing or like an ace 2, ace 3 kind of hand, which obviously beats us. So I was checking with the intention of probably calling more than folding, depending on the bet size. But you know, it's fine to check there, and if they do have a worse Jack that we missed a value bet from, then you know, say la vie. Peeled the Queen 8 suited, big blind versus button. We would have been floating this flop to rep plenty of turns. When he checks back, I think leading here is fine. We can get called and then bet the river, because obviously they could have like King 10 with a King of Clubs type hands. So if a club misses, we can just carry on betting and take it down there. 6M suited, I opened under the gun, which is a little bit loose, but I don't mind it. Obviously we flop pretty much the nut flop for our hand, so we're just going to c-bet and we'll get in versus the shorty. Staying aggressive again, I'm 3-betting a7 suited in position versus an undergun open. Not something I always do, I do sometimes flat, just something I like to mix up a little bit. Got 0 hands on this guy, so we're just piling on the pressure, you know, printing the 3 big blinds every time they fold, making money when they call out of position. Okay, here's a spot where a lot of people might 3-bet or peel, but I've just checked this Hagelund undergun open, it's saying 9%, so I would have just been folding if this Dronko didn't jam. Just because, you know, we can get 4-bet way too often. They have like a really tight range of hands. So just don't put yourself in that difficult spot, basically. Open 5-6 off on the button, totally fine. Just gonna make a half pot c-bet on such a dry board. Obviously we assume like their big aces 3-bet us. You know, the sort of broadways might 3-bet us quite a lot, so we expect to take it down a lot. Once we get called and we get the same sort of, we get that turn, I don't think we get anything to fold that really called us on the flop. So I'm just shutting down on this pot, and I probably am expecting to see like, I don't know, King Queen enough, Ace Rag, maybe just a 7, but I'm pretty sure it's something that we couldn't make totally fold. Yeah. I think it's pretty unbelievable if we bet that river. We might get looked up with King High there, because I probably would. Gonna keep this small because obviously we've got pretty much the nuts. He's a short stack, so we want to keep him in the pot. When he does that, I'm just gonna call and call any river, just in case they are bluffing. You know, these people do spaz. We want to make sure we get those 11 and a bit BBs at the end. Obviously we make pretty much the nuts, so we're sticking it in regardless. And I'm not really too scared of a deuce, and if they've got it, they've got it. Or if they're stuck out with like an ace-5 type hand and hit an ace, then, you know, that's the risk I'm willing to take for the 11 bigs that he's got left. And by the looks of it there, we made, you know, a couple of big blinds by just checking and allowing a river spaz. A6 when we get 3 bet even small, I'm just folding. It's not a hand that we really want to play. Well, I hope you're not playing those hands anyway. And if you are, I hope you're being aggressive with them. Just going to flatten position here with a 9-10 suited. I was contemplating 3 betting for a second, but we'll play a point in position with a hand. I can make plenty of cool hands. Well, obviously when we get checked and we've got top pair, we're just going to go ahead and bet for hand protection and value. You know, his worst pocket pairs can call, he might float us with overs. But, you know, more likely getting called down with scared hands like 6s, 8s, 5s. It's always nice to see a big hand when you're playing speed, because we seem to just fold, fold, fold. Dope boy's thanking. Hopefully he will be a dope boy in 3 bet. Nope, just times out. I'm pretty much fine peeling this in position. I think 3 betting you get them to 4 bet you too often. You just put yourself in difficult spots. You know, you're turning a hand into a bluff that plays fairly good in position. And, you know, obviously we rate ourselves as a better post-flop player than most, so happy to play it. We can raise on this flop, but I think it just again puts us into a really tricky position with such a big hand. So I like to call even though there's a ton of bad turns like this one. When we get checked to, I'm betting for both value and hand protection. They can obviously call us with a couple of flush draws, straight draws, a worse 8, maybe even a 7. Or again, if they call and we think they're actually stronger than us, we can bet big on the river and rep a straight. Or, you know, a 2-pair or sec type hand. But in that spot, I was just generally betting for hand protection. Just so we don't see too many bad turns, bad rivers, sorry. Peel the 8-10 off, big blind versus under the gun. Make a pair, so it's check calling all day. Not the best turn for us. But again, you know, we barrel twice with nothing, we've got a pair. We're versus someone who's double barreled against us a couple of times, so we're just going to put the seatbelt on and call again. I think that's a pretty, I don't know, I think it's a pretty close to a value bet by them. Checking back's totally fine though, because we can raise them off the hand with either our made hands or bluffs. We can rep that river. So checking back was probably fine by Hageland. I think that hand was played pretty standard actually by both of us. Same again, peeling with the Queen 7 suited. I peel a lot. I think it's something not enough people do. You know, you got to remember people are blind stealing. They know our money is in their blind. So their range isn't exactly nuts. When I lead the turn, I think I've got to bet the river. They can have a jack, they can have a pair that can call us, but a lot of the time I think they just float in or maybe turn the draw. whether it be a gut shot, straight draw, or a flush draw. So I don't think our queen high has too much showdown value, and obviously they can bet their worst hands to make us fold. So I just want to barrel there and get folds. When people have been under the gun, I've got no hands on them. I just generally think they're a fish. They've obviously not got a full stack, so I think they're a fish again. I don't really love flatting with the queen 10 suited, so I just like to 3-bet it and, you know, be in control of the floating position. When we make second pair, I check back just because they can obviously have a jack, they can have a better 10, they can have a set. It's all definitely possible, so it's just a bit of pot control and allowing us to play future streets a lot easier. I think when we get 2 checks, we're pretty much comfortable with our hand. Yes, they can have a hand that's beating us, yes, they can be trapping, but a lot of the time I think they just get check call with worse or check fold. And no doubt we'll probably get check raised, just because it's fun. Open the jacks, we're just going to do a standard c-bet. We c-bet most of our range here, a worse can call us, etc, etc. I'm actually going to go a bit really small here to induce maybe a spaz, or to get them to just snap us off if, you know, they're 7, they're 10, the small pocket pairs, just to basically secure us a call. We make 11 bigs by doing that. They actually had pocket 8s, so I'm pretty happy with our bet size in there. I was thinking about overbet jamming to make it look like a bluff, but I didn't think any of their range was strong enough to call. So I think if we just bet small, guarantee those 11 bigs. I think that's a hand pretty much well played by us. I think that's a spot as well. People are like, oh, just make my standard, you know, 70%, you know, or my 2/3 river bet. You know, look who the opponent is, look how the hand's played, figure out their range, you know, adjust to that, and, you know, make the money. King 5 suited on the button, totally fine. Pocket 4s, it is a leak, you know, calling out the blinds a bit, but we are deeper. We've seen that he's fairly aggressive, not the best, so there's implied odds of making money if we hit set. So now and then I will call, but like I say, it is a leak, because a lot of times we check fold, you know, boards like this. So just, you know, keep in mind how often you're doing it. You know, if you're doing it 3 out of 4 times, you're probably going to be losing. If you're doing it 1 or 2 out of 4 times, then you're probably, you know, going to be break even or losing a smaller amount. King 5 here. I don't think there's anything for us to believe we're behind, or to have like a strong king. They did just flat our min open on the button, so, you know, go ahead and try and get value for our king there, assuming that they've got pocket pairs. King Queen is in their range, but I think a lot of the time it's like King Jack, or hands like that, which is definitely calling us, but I think we've got to put the pressure on with a big bet to make them maybe consider folding. Not that I think they would a lot, because obviously it's a chop, but we can have Ace King, we can have a deuce, and if we get raised here, it's just a pretty easy fold. They can have a deuce, they can have King Queen, they could be just a way better player than us and be outplaying us here with King Jack, but I think it's just a fairly easy fold. And, you know, value bet folding, like I was talking to my friend the other day, is something we've got to do a lot. Don't be ashamed in it, don't let it tilt you. I think there we can get looked up by 9s or 8s or, you know, 7s type hands. So I decided to go ahead and value bet my king, and like I said, I think we're chopping there a lot of the time, so think it's fine to do. Peel with a queen 10. No action on the flop. We led the turn, and then we're just going to lead the river when we make the nut straight. Obviously, it is a paired board and flush board, so if we take some heat on the river, we can easily just get away from it. But make a 70% pot value bet. I think we pick that pot up a lot. And yeah, you had ace jack, so topped up on the turn. Just opening 2 buttons here. 8-4, you know, it's not totally standard to open, but I open a lot of buttons, so it's totally standard for me. Ace jack is obviously a standard open. And just go ahead and make our standard C bet. And I know a lot of you might be thinking, hold on, he's 70% pot C bets when he's got a hand, or half pot C bets without. It's actually not that simple. Just on really dry boards, I'll half pot it because I think it does the same job as a 70% pot. And this is speed poker, so they're not exactly picking up too much of my betting habits. And again here, we've got called on the flop, we check the turn, and we value bet the river. And it seems the story of today, we just gotta keep getting check raised when we make a hand. Hands that can have sets, yes. Straights, yes. 2 pairs, yes. Air, not so much. So I'll just let that one go pretty easily. Peeled with the ace-6 off in position. When we get check 2, I always just go ahead and bet. Yes, we can get check raised, we can get check called with better, but we're just giving them a chance to fold out there. Aces that beat us, or their pocket pairs, you know, below an 8, you know, 2s through to 7s. Why not take a pot down where your opponent looks weak? I'm pretty much just stuck one buy in here. Obviously we had that king queen hand, which sucked, but I was pretty happy with how we played it overall. I think in a vacuum it's a profitable play and we'll make money in the long run doing it. And then a couple of hands where we've value bet folded, but that's just the annoying downside of poker. Unlike most coaches, I will post up a session where I played poorly or where I've commentated poorly, or where I've made mistakes, because we've got to learn from the mistakes. So a lot of people think learning is a simple, oh, this is definitely how you play, this is how you win. You should actually be learning more from the spots where you lose, or where you see people play poorly. So I might have played a hand which you think is terrible, so you're going to know never to play like that, but you're going to know that some opponents do play that way. So, you know, just have that in your mind, that that spot has happened in this way before. What not to do, what to do, what could be happening, and all that jazz. Like I say, comment in the comment box please. The more comments we get, the better. I'm really happy with the people who've come to me for coaching. I do a hem leak finder for $50 as a one-off. Just find plenty of leaks or stats that look a little bit out of place, just to get you started. And then I've got probably the most competitive rates in online coaching. So the lads who I'm coaching at the moment, are playing really well. They're improving on the win rate. Everything's looking up. So if you want to be part of that, just ask PokerVIP for my Skype, and we'll get chatting about it. Peeling here with the A7 suited, out of position. We're deep, so obviously we've got a hand that makes the nuts. I think it would be bad to just fold it. Ace 2 here, we've obviously got a gut shot on an overcard, and it's a really dry board, so just going to go ahead and make our small C bet and expect to pick it up enough of the time. When we get called, the range could be better ace highs, pairs, you know, straight draws. But I don't think we can just bomb them off too much at the moment, so I'm just going to check back and, you know, have ace high in position. The 10 obviously hits a lot of their range. They could be floating us with paint, better ace highs, other pairs. I don't think we get much to fold, basically, is what I'm saying. So I'm just going to check back. Hopefully ace high will be the winning hand enough. For the times it's not, though, I'm happy to concede the pot. Queen 2 suited, blind v blind. It's pretty loose, but I like to do it. Kings here versus a mid position open. Standard C bet. Just under 3x. We snap, get 4 bet. I mean, what can we worry about? We only worry about one hand. Our only worry is how do we get all the chips in the pot, and I think that's by just making a simple 5-bet jam. If we win this, I think we're evens on the session, so let's use our 1000th time for this one. Lovely. It's always good to win a big pot at the end of a session. So, for once, I'm going to end a video where I've won a pot and not spazzed or donked off a stack. So again, this was ripurahole for pokervip.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope your poker's going well. Please subscribe to my blog. Please check out all the offers we have available for all the different sites. Rakeback bonuses, rake races, the works. So yeah, keep grinding. Good luck. And hopefully we all have a nice winning weekend.